Hello, I'm Julia and I'm a Turkish teacher and welcome to our YouTube channel. So today I'm going to tell you about my 1 year long Turkish learning year as I studied Turkish for 1 year from 0 to C1 and those courses were intensive. But they actually gave me inspiration for my courses which I currently am doing for over 4 years on A1, A2, B1, B2 levels. But that course was offline. So as I explained in my previous videos, which you can watch in my profile, and don't forget to subscribe, and so to be aware of the videos we have coming up. And I have explained there that I have won a scholarship which has granted me an opportunity to live and study in Turkey for free. And I've passed interviews and tests and in order to get it. So I came to Istanbul with Merhaba nasılsın? I even didn't have the answer because during my interview I decided to show off and I said Merhaba nasılsınız? Or like I just said Merhaba and they asked me nasılsın? I said İyiyim sen nasılsın? Which is incorrect because there were 4 people and like from one side it should have been at least formal and it should have been plural and so yeah, I arrived with maybe 10 words in my vocabulary and a couple of greetings maybe. And we started our course in around September, October, and we have received our schedule in which we had to come to our classes from Monday till Friday at 1 p.m. and we had a little break and we had class still like 4 or 5 in the evening. So what did we do? In free time, we actually did our homework. We have studied by Istanbul books, but it was just part of our study. So we had 2 teachers actually. From Monday till Wednesday, we had 1 teacher, and like Thursday and Friday, we had another teacher. And so basically, we have gone to grammar and speaking and reading and writing all together during those classes, and my classmates were just like me. They didn't know Turkish, some did a little, but most of us didn't know it at all. So we started with greetings, but the most important difference was that classes were completely in Turkish. Our teachers on principle didn't talk to us in English. So if I had any questions, I had to ask them in Turkish. And if I had any problems, I would come to my not flatmates, but roommates in my dormitory and try to figure it out with them. But my Turkish roommates were like, when I asked why is this grammar like this, they said, well, because because like Turkish people learn Turkish in a very different way in their schools. So and foreigners in completely different way. That's why knowing language and teaching language are different things, because you can never know how they teach the foreigners unless you actually look into that, like check the books and watch some videos. So that was hard because we basically figured it out as we went, because sometimes you would completely not understand, but with time you kind of figured it out because you had no other choice, because you needed to pass the exams, you needed to learn to speak, because in my area, as I've told, in my area in Istanbul where I lived, well, English was a rarity, so we needed to survive somehow. So we had our classes from 1 to like 5, and we had books. We had like ders kitabı, çalışma kitabı, so like lesson book and like more workbook. And my teacher gave us like Our teacher gave us more like printed materials, some vocabularies, some rules, if our book didn't provide that, and they were really helpful. On the side, when I achieved like A2 or so, I started watching series, but it was like I stopped the series every minute, every like 10 seconds to understand what they said because I didn't have the grammar or vocabulary to understand them at that level. So I started like searching for books and going to children bookshops and searching for some easy ones because not all children books are easy as we think. So we had to find some books which were written in like simple grammars which we have already learned, for example, normal past tense, like simply in normal past tense. And that wasn't easy. So also I wanted to tell you how exams went. So in order to pass to the next level, at the end of each level we had to pass exams. And one level took us around 2 or 3 months. I think the shortest one was A2. I think it was less than 2 months actually. The book was really thin. But yeah, around 2 or 3 months for each level, which provided that we end this course by the end of the year, like starting in October, finishing in kind of like July. That was the plan until Corona came into the picture, but let's not talk about that yet. So first 2 levels I had on like offline classes in like university, in language center. So how would they go? I think that's how they are doing it now that we are over COVID, mostly. And so first of all exams have speaking, writing, grammar part, listening, and reading. Grammar part is usually included in reading. So like you kind of like solve the tests on grammar while reading, like fill in the blanks kind of things. So first of all, you of course are like you give your phones and everything, and then the listening part you only listen to 2 times, of course, and the writing part like they give you time and you have to finish writing some essay. And the speaking part actually consists of 2 parts. So if writing, reading, and listening are on the paper, when you finish those 3 parts, they give you like the chance to pick a topic like randomly. You just get a topic and you can like have 10-15 minutes to prepare yourself for that topic. And also they give you random speaking partner and you have to create a dialogue with them on a certain topic. The challenge was because sometimes, like, I was a good student, but sometimes you can be paired with a student who was struggling with Turkish, and you had to somehow figure it out so it doesn't, like, influence your marks. Of course, that didn't happen for me because I'm a little of a nerd. So all of my exams I got like 90, 95, 93 out of 100. And yeah, but still, it was like we were competitive and we wanted to be like the best, and we really were scared of failing our exams because then you had to retake them, and then like you can lose your scholarship or partly lose your scholarship. And we needed that one to survive as well. So we were really over preparing ourselves. Like a couple of days before the exams, we would like take like lists of verbs, and like there were like maybe 100 150 verbs, and we would memorize them. We would sit and memorize them together, ask each other questions, and do the speaking topics we did. And like at the end of A1, the speaking is really easy. You have to like tell about yourself, about your family, about like what is your routine, what you have done yesterday. Like A1 is pretty basic. A2, you have to be able to speak in all 5 tenses of Turkish and like be able to explain yourself a little more openly. During A2, you have a lot of topics, like for example, future tense, you have holidays, you have fairy tales. So the writing part usually consists of writing a fairy tale. And that's kind of challenging, for exam. Like you need to figure something out. But we did somehow. So that's like experience of learning the Turkish language in Turkish courses offline. And then when COVID hit, we had to like really rapidly change into online environment. And like imagine sitting like in front of your laptop for 4.5 hours every day. Not so easy. And like those were the hardest levels. We were B1, B2, C1, C1 academic, and we had to learn them online. Like now, as I know, those courses are available offline and online, so you can actually do them online as well, the ones I did. But be aware that they are completely in Turkish. That's the thing. Like Turkish teachers mostly prefer teaching Turkish in Turkish. And although it can be very fruitful, I would say, when I started teaching Turkish, I knew that that's not what I'm gonna do. Yes, I'm gonna try to speak to my students as much as I can in Turkish, using associations, using like the objects I have in hand, like to show on the objects, to like teach them the vocabulary, kalem, kağıt, fare, like I don't know, like trying to teach them with the objects I had and like using English like less I can, the better, and try to explain the grammars in the most basic way without actually like try like having to teach them the names of those grammars. So that was my goal. And with time, I also felt like you have such an amazing culture, Turkish people. Like it's amazing, such amazing songs, such popular Turkish series. So I decided that I need to use that. So for each topic I taught, I also created exercises which went with each level, like with each grammar. For example, we're learning present tense, so let's translate the song which has present tense in it. Or we're learning past tense, let's watch in Turkish series where they use it. And it can be challenging because Turkish series are fast and they do not use like especially A2 vocabulary, so you have to learn a lot of new words, but it gives you insight on how Turkish people really think, how they use those grammars and not just bookish Turkish. So that's why I combined all of these and started teaching it as a Turkish teacher online because at COVID we had no other options. And so yeah, this is courses, by the way, are called TÖMER. So they are quite popular because they give results. They do. And I loved that experience. Actually, like learning Turkish was the best year of my life because like my job was to learn Turkish. Our job was to learn Turkish. Like what can be more exciting than just having the sole like job learning language? I love learning languages. That's why I actually also know English, German, learning Spanish, and my native language is Ukrainian. And so basically, I love learning languages, and that experience was really nice. And that inspired my courses. But from like before 4 years ago, we have progressed into a full team of teachers. I also have native teachers, and we specialize in teaching Turkish the most comfortable way, the most interactive way, and well, we are succeeding, I hope, as my students say we are. So, if you would like to also join our online courses and give it a go, we have one starting every 3 months. So, A1, A2, B1, B2. You can DM our Instagram for details. You can DM Turkish. And thank you so much for watching. And please comment down below what would you like to hear about my life in Turkey, maybe my studying, maybe about my life in a Turkish dormitory, which was completely Turkish girls. Like, so I also have learned Turkish Sign Language. So let me know in the comments what you would like to see next. And don't forget to subscribe to receive the newsletters about our videos coming up. So, see you. Bye bye.